Jeff Wilson started covering the Texas Rangers in 2008, though he'll never forget 2021. Out on his own, he decided it was time to do a podcast, but his wheels were spinning until a nerd came along. There's no going back now. Welcome to the Texas Rangers Baseball Podcast. Here's your host, Jeff Wilson, and the recliner nerd himself, John Moore.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Texas Rangers Baseball Podcast. This is episode 34 today. Mason Englert, he's the right-handed pitcher for the Texas Rangers. He's playing for the Hickory Crawdads. Yeah. But before we get to Mason and get down in the minor leagues, we got to talk the big leagues. Let's go over some real quick stats. 9-14 right now. They've won 3 in a row. 5-5 the last 10. I'm always going to do the last 10 every time we come in here, see where they're at. That's actually what they're playing 500 baseball. You can't argue with that right now for a team that you want to see them playing 500 ball right now, kind of what you expected. I think everyone wants them to be, winning the West, but it's not bad for where they are right now.
Well, it's not bad from where they were.
Right. Well, sure.
They were not playing 500 baseball there for a while.
No.
And, they've had and frankly, they've had a tough schedule. I mean, you kind of look at things. The Mariners aren't slouches. The Rockies have played well. The Blue Jays, of course, are
picked to win. A lot of them got them picked to win.
Astros, Angels. So yeah, there's some good teams in the Braves. I know the Braves are struggling a little right now, but they're still the Braves. They're still the world champs. So, you win some games. You get some momentum. You start doing things right.
Sure.
You're into the season now. It's been almost a month. It'll be a month this week. So now's the time. They've made up for the lost time in spring training,
right?
And maybe the 2-week little buffer if you get one of those to start a season. So they should be playing well by now. They should be
hitting their stride. And one thing I noticed, I looked up some stats on what they were doing. One thing that's impressive with them, they've scored 102 runs. 102 runs is a lot comparing. It's tied for second in the AL West. That's tied for third in all of the American League for runs scored. And then you go to the National League, it's better than 10 teams in the National League, and the entire National League Central hasn't scored as many as 102 runs. Now, they're -4 in the run differential because they've given up 106 runs. That tells you right now it is a pitching issue that they're working on, although the bullpen's been pretty good. Well,
the rotation's gotten better.
Right.
You've seen it the last time through, and even the time before that, there was maybe one hiccup in there, but so again, it's them getting their innings, it's their stuff getting dialed in and getting a feel for their pitches. So right now, you're starting to see it, and relievers. Everybody just thinks relievers can show up and go. They usually have about 9 outings in spring training.
Right.
They usually go back to back at least once in spring training, and they didn't get that this year. And so it takes time for them too, and their stuff's getting dialed in. Brock Burke, it looks like he's been dialed in since the first day. He's been great, and there he is right there. Yeah. Colorado boy. He went to same high school as my mom's side of the family, many years apart, but still we're going to claim him as our own.
Yeah.
But he's a good kid. He's got power stuff, and it looks like the relief role really suits him better than starting.
That's the hardest he's thrown. He's thrown up in the upper. He's 97, 98. He's hitting on the radar gun. I don't think he's ever thrown that hard. Coming back from first of all, he's come back from the shoulder surgery.
Right.
And but yeah, amazing. He's looked great. And yes, this seems to be the role. I know some people are talking about putting him in maybe that opener role or something like that. Woody kind of dismissed that. Yeah. Said he likes where he's at right now.
And it's going to get to the point where you can use him multiple times a week.
Sure.
And they will. And and maybe he just needs one day off instead of the couple he's been getting.
Right.
He told me in spring training that when he got called up in 19, he was dealing with shoulder problems. He had a bunch of cortisone injections that year, wasn't throwing that hard, got through the year, and then it just kind of got worse and worse, so he needed to have the surgery. So, and he's older now. He's stronger. He looks like he's in better shape. Not that he was ever out of shape or anything. But,
right.
When these guys get hurt, all they can do is work out.
Sure.
And so they get in shape. And with all that comes with that, you're going to get a little stronger, throw a little harder. And so good for him, And for a young guy to get hurt, we'll talk to Mason Englert about this, our guest, a little later.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, coming back from Tommy John that he did. So,
but anyway, good for Mason, and I'm sorry, good for Brock. But John King, Tuesday night in Philadelphia, pitched out of an amazing jam.
Right.
Dennis Santana's been very good since he got off the COVID list, and so they're guys who had to get better, who were on the team last year, and who are getting better.
Right. Well, and you have to go to, Woodward has said something all along, and this year that it was about winning, and that the players that weren't performing were not, they were going to go with the guys that were performing. You had to earn your spot. And that came to fruition this week with the demotion of Willie Calhoun, which we need to talk about, and Kobe Allard, who, Brock Burke made Kobe Allard expendable.
Sure.
And sent him down to the minor leagues. He had a pretty decent start for Round Rock. But, Willie Calhoun, that's the big news. I personally, my opinion, I think he's played his last game in a Texas Ranger uniform. Where do you sit on that?
Well, I wrote at rangerstoday.com, $5.99 a month or $60 a year, that the Rangers need to part ways with him. He wasn't happy. He's never been happy. Nobody's happy when they get sent down. I mean, let's make that perfectly clear.
Sure.
And you can't blame him for that. But at this point, for him to not see that was coming, kind of tells you something maybe about Willie that he is maybe thinks he's better than he is, and he said that he's ditched these hitting tips, hitting tweaks that the new hitting coaches gave him, and I kind of wonder, he hit that home run in the fourth game of the season,
right?
The pinch hit home run came off the bench,
right?
Was that the new swing? Was that because he launched that ball?
Right.
It had a lot of launch angle. It was high. It was deep, and he's saying that doesn't fit him. That he's more of a doubles hitter with
he's a gap to gap
enough
guy
to get it over the fence,
right?
But if that first swing, that first home run, his only home run,
sure.
If that's the swing if the new swing got him that home run and the new approach or whatever they're telling him to do, why would you abandon it? And so you got to give it more time. And but for him to go out and say what he said to Levi Weaver on The Athletic, and I've been wanting out of here for a year and a half, it just to say it publicly, to get to air your laundry. It's not good, and it very clearly shows that he doesn't fit in terms of what the Rangers want. They want high character guys. They want professional ball players, and I'm not saying Willie's not a pro, but when you do something like that, you wonder if he's the right fit.
And emotions get him. Look, emotions got him that year that he didn't make the team out of coming out of was it 2019? He didn't make it coming out of spring. He sulked about it for a couple days before he showed up and ended up having a good year once he got up. He ended up hitting 21 home runs that year, hit 280 or 268 or something that year. But I totally agree with you on what they're saying there. Look, he's hitting 136. Right. He had to understand. I give you credit. We were sitting up there in the press box, and we knew the team was about to pare down. I think it was Sunday that we were talking, and I said, "Who do you think?" We know Huff's going down. They had just sent Allard out. And I said, "So we know Huff's going down. Who's the other one you think?" And you said Calhoun, Willie Calhoun. That hadn't crossed my mind, and you said it, and I went, "Well, that could be." You had it in your head, and you said it, and all of a sudden I put it out there, and I put a little poll. Who do you think's going to go? A lot of them leaned towards Willie Calhoun, and he went. And, your parting shot can't be that. Yeah. You can't say that on the way out. It's why Josh Hamilton received so much flack when you left. What you say is, I got to go down and get better. I got to work on the stuff they're working on to get back. Mm-hmm. But the Rangers, I tell you right now, they're probably not. Look, they've got Leody Taveras, who's killing the ball at AAA. You got Bubba Thompson, who's had good games coming back now after his eye injury. There's other options to come up. And here's what needs to happen. I don't think he's going to get traded. You can't go to AAA and play your way into a trade. I don't think that's going to happen, what he thinks. But look, you've got Leclerc, you've got Hernandez that are going to come off the 60-day. They've got to find 2 more 40-man roster spots. Right. I think that's about how long he has. If they can't move him for something, he's probably going to get DFA'd. That's what my guess is.
Well, he's 27, so he's about to enter his prime years. He's still ARB eligible, so he's got 2 more years of control.
Right.
The problem is he has to do it at the major league level, and look, I don't know if Zach Rex is going to last, but they're going to give him a look.
Sure.
And if they want to bring up Taveras is going to last. They're going to give him a long, long look. So there, and there's a trickle down effect. If Taveras comes up, somebody has to move to left field. Whoever's in left field has to go to DH or another position. So you're going to Willie is going to lose opportunities to play. So he's going to have to force them to call him up, by hitting the heck out of the ball. And you can do that in AAA, but you gotta really do it. Your numbers have to be outstanding, like Tavares's are. So I think that they're going to give him a chance. They're not going to be able to trade him. Willie, like you said, he's in 136. He's a career minus 1.5 WAR. He can only do one thing, and he's not doing it well right now.
No.
So there's not a team that really is going to want to trade for him. Somebody might let him clear waivers and sign him to a minor league deal.
Sure.
But I don't know that even maybe the A's. I mean, he's from Oakland, so maybe, or the Oakland area, so maybe they would
that's
claim him.
That's
and
someone
make
perfect
a deal.
for them.
But
yeah.
I don't because they're rebuilding and need bats, fine. But I just don't see a huge market for him, and the Rangers know that. So
right.
And I think Willie now knows that because he came back with Kennedy Landry on MLB.com and said, I was respectfully asked for the trade, tried to cool down what he had said earlier. So
right.
Somebody got in his ear, but it might be too late.
That's what I personally think. And look, Willie he works the bat pretty well. He's gotten on base well in doing that. He tries to claim this doubles thing. I'm a gap to gap doubles guy. He's not very fast, for that. So he's defensively, he's got deficiencies defensively. Say that 5 times real fast. But he does. You've got to be if you're not that great defensively, if you're not hitting the doubles, like you said, and you're not putting, I know he's had some exit velocity that's been pretty good coming into this. You've got to be putting up some strong numbers. I said coming into the year, Solak was my odd guy out. That's who I thought it was. Solak has earned his way on this team and played well enough to make Willie expendable. Poor Willie, unfortunately, what he said coming out of that is probably hurt right now. I think the Rangers are probably going to sit back and say, go prove it to me. You know what?
Yeah.
Big talk. Yeah. Now you got to go. Now you got to cash that check. You got to go down and cash that check. Anything else before we get over and get Mason in here?
Well, we talked about the rotation, good, bullpen better. There are a couple guys who are still struggling, but I think they're the veteran guys, Mitch Garver and Marcus Semien, and their averages are below 200. But I still think you're starting to see good things. Garver is hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Semien, I thought Tuesday night when he showed what a pro he is by beating out that ball to third base, and it turned out
he
to
didn't
be
give up. No, he
huge
went.
run. And that's what a pro does.
Right.
You go hard every time, and it's kind of I don't know if it's a cliche, but you hear it a lot. You may not do well, but somebody might be out hitting you or out pitching you, but nobody should out hustle you or outwork you.
Absolutely.
And that's the best thing you can do as a teammate is work hard every day. And Marcus Semien, consummate pro, Ron Washington can't say enough great things about him.
Right.
And so I don't think there's reason for concern. And both of them had bad Aprils last year. So
sure.
I think in this next week you're going to see them start to take off a little bit.
Yeah, and I totally agree on Semien. You watch his demeanor in the clubhouse with the players and all of that. He's not just cashing a check. The guy seriously is trying to. He is working he's out there. We see him taking ground balls. He's out there hitting. He's not resting and sitting on his laurels. Say, hey, I just signed the big contract. No, both these guys work hard. They're trying to get it done. They want to earn their paycheck. It kind of reminds me of Chu. When Chu first signed that first year, he really kind of struggled that year and then settled in. And at the end of it, we're like, wow, we really kind of stole him. It was a pretty good deal the way he hit leading that team at the end of the year. I'm not worried about Semien. There's too much history of Semien to not think that he'll eventually work his way out of this. And of course, Seager's just Seager.
Seager's very good.
Seager, and he's good. Well, guys, we're going to get to Mason Englert here in a second. Don't forget, rangerstoday.com. We're going to keep plugging that as we go. Sign up for the YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit like, tell it to friends, get them to follow it. We'll get Mason Englert right after this. All right, and joining us now from Winston-Salem, Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Right-handed pitcher Mason Englert. Mason, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me.
What time did you guys finish up last night?
Last night, probably about 10:30, which is one of the longest games of the year, but was still probably faster than the average game pace last year. So, but I mean, yeah, it was good. It was like 11-9 game. It was a good game. We ended up losing, but I mean, it was great. Really good game.
We didn't wake you up early, did we?
No, sir, not at all. I've been up since about 9.
What do you do? What do you do on the road at 9 in the morning?
I usually like to get up. I get outside, like get in the sun, and go on a walk. Go find a good breakfast spot, kind of relax, spend the morning, listen to music and hanging out, and then that's about it.
Now, I mean, Winston-Salem's a college town because that's where Wake Forest is. So there's stuff, right? I mean, you're not in a town of 5,000 people.
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff around here. There's plenty of restaurants to choose from and all that good stuff. All
right, so let's jump into the baseball stuff with you. I mean, you're rolling right now, buddy. Early on, those starts skew all the numbers if you give up a couple runs and you only pitch a few innings. But you've gone 6 the last couple times, not giving up a lot of hits, not giving up a lot of walks. What sounds like maybe you found your footing, so to speak.
Yeah, I think even the first couple weeks, the first one I could have done a little better job landing the slider, but the first couple weeks, I think I was rolling pretty similar to how I have been the last couple weeks. It's kind of how I went in spring training too. There was just a couple unlucky situations where, baseball happens and a couple runs score. And like you said, it kind of skews the numbers or data. Mm-hmm. But I think if you're watching that game or you're part of it, it's like a little better performance than maybe like the final stat line shows. And then finally the last 2 outings, the final stat line was able to reflect how I think the outings have been going. And especially now that I was able to get deeper in the game, I was able to reflect better what actually happened.
All right. So catch us up on your repertoire and what you're throwing and what you mentioned the slider wasn't landing well maybe the first time out, but what's working for you right now?
It's really been a combination of all 4 kind of working as like a system together and using certain pitch pairs when I need certain results. But yeah, so that's something we've talked about is I don't have a specific like one put away pitch. It's more so like how I'm pairing different things and what I'm hiding for later in the game, second or third time through the lineup. And I'm not necessarily hiding like a certain pitch. It's just maybe the pitch pair, how it plays and what the batter's seeing. But yeah, that's what we've kind of added. Like the slider was a big project to kind of get to pair off my changeup. And now that we've kind of got a grip and a movement profile and a velo that's locked down, it's become better and better consistently as far as locations go. And so yeah, now we're just rolling, gonna keep trying to land everything and keep competing and stay one pitch at a time.
What fastball are you throwing, Mason? Remind me.
Just 4 seam. So I'm kind of I have like a lower release height than normal, and I still am getting like a decent amount of backspin. So we're trying to like keep the vertical movement to like 16 to 17 inches out of my release height, which plays like a hoppier fastball up in the zone. So really everything plays off of that, and then kind of occasionally landing like a down fastball to keep them honest or keep takes going. But yeah, I mean, there's 4 seam and everything playing off that.
So I've covered the team now for 15 years, and like the way you're talking is kind of it's not foreign, but it's definitely different than it was 15 years ago when you're talking about all this information. I mean, is it different for you from the time you were drafted? I'm assuming it is.
Yeah, the organization, I think, well, not just the org, but all of baseball is like moved into such a different place. And it's like you have to, or else you're not going to compete and keep up. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're definitely into like, I guess more of the physics side, like how to make a ball move. But I think it's awesome that we're into that, because now instead of saying like, oh, that guy just has an electric fastball, or it's just different, like we have actual reason, like a tangible reason to understand like what's going on, and then you can replicate that yourself. So yeah, I mean, it's all the tools that are available now are really unbelievable.
So I mean, when they use that language, and then you see the results, I guess that's what makes it click. I mean, I'm not. It just seems like it's so new to John and I.
Yeah.
But if they say, hey, there's 18 inches of vertical, and you can look at a pie chart or a graph, and it shows it. I mean, is that when it starts to make sense?
Yeah, I think it starts to make sense when we have some really smart guys here, from pitching coaches to data apprentices that can present ideas to you, and then when it really starts to make sense and you really start to buy in is when you execute what they're talking about and you start getting higher whiff percentages and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I think kind of the new thing that's interesting is like the vertical approach angle, which is just like on the fastball, the angle that it's crossing home plate at. So it's like if you have a lower release height, you don't have to have as much vertical to have a lower vertical approach angle. And if you have a higher release height, more vertical gives you the approach angle. So that's really like the end goal. And if you can get kind of outlier numbers on that, that's where a lot of swing and misses come to play with the fastball.
Yeah, I mean, the only vertical I'd heard of in sports is what jumping, you know, and
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
NBA, you want to have a good vertical. NFL, the combine, you want to have good verticals, and now you want to have a good vertical in baseball, man.
On a fastball, apparently.
Vertical apparently is where it's at.
my jumping vertical isn't the best, so hopefully we can just keep the fastball where it needs to be.
Mine neither. I've got about a 2-inch vertical. That's all I got.
Well, that's all right. So let's go back to last year. It was your first season. Because of the Tommy John that you had in 19, but your first season, you made it through. You made every start. What did you learn kind of about yourself, and now that you've kind of applied to this year?
Yeah, that's kind of a loaded question. I think there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that were really challenging personally, but I wouldn't change any of it. Like in the moment, it was really challenging and difficult, and it made performance have to almost take the back burner. I don't know how to describe it, but it's almost like when you're dealing with stuff personal, it's hard to focus on baseball. But at the same time, you come out of like that with an understanding of yourself and like a realization. And now I'm really happy to be where I'm at with the things I learned from last year and able to carry it on into this year as far as just like enjoying life, enjoying baseball. And yeah, I mean, last year was unbelievable for learning. It was the hardest year of my life from so many aspects, but it ended up being unbelievable and kind of shaped like who I am now as a person and a pitcher. So last year was awesome though. I mean, awesome, but not awesome in the moment. You know what I mean?
Sure,
but ended up being like, I learned more than I've ever learned in my life last season. I'm super thankful for it.
No, look, I mean, you haven't had it easy. You got drafted 4th round from Forney, local kid doing good. And then next thing you know, next spring, you have to have your elbow rebuilt. So, I mean, it seems like playing would have been a relief. But also you've learned a lot. I mean, that rehab process is not easy. Can you just kind of talk about like going through that? I know you had a buddy there with you in Owen White, but I mean, that's a tough thing that you got to learn right away. That's like the first thing you learned.
Yeah. The rehab process was actually really fun. Because there's no pressure to, perform. And so all you get to do is work on your personal development, and you get to hang out with a bunch of guys. You don't have, there's no pressure like whatsoever. Cause you're earlier in your career, you're going to come out and get, probably have a good chance to be throwing harder and throwing better. So you just look forward to that and work out. But I think where the problems came for me was, I came out throwing harder in my bullpens. We had all this stuff going on, and it was almost like a false sense of like superiority or like, false sense of confidence. And then when I went to the games finally, and I, struggled to have success for the first time in my life, it was like, these things hit me that were just like, wow, I can't turn off my mind. I can't sleep. I'm anxious, hard to eat, like all these different things I've never dealt with because, in high school and all that stuff, it had always been pretty successful. So it was really interesting, like navigating that and learning how to deal with that, because that's definitely something that could tear apart like somebody's career, or you could like go find resources to help you and then be better from it.
So you're better.
Yeah, I would like to say so.
Okay, good.
The numbers say so.
Yeah. So you're that Hickory team, that Hickory pitching staff, guys are loaded with arms. What?
Yeah.
You guys, you said you room typically with TK Roby, who's got some family in town now, but just talk about kind of what the chemistry's like, and feeding off each other, having each other's back, that kind of thing.
Man, it's awesome. Me and TK are real good buddies. Like he's my roommate back at home too, so we stay in an apartment together, and we're like always watching each other's pins or staying next to each other in the dugout, talking about what we're seeing. That's what I think is interesting about this year. I feel like the conversations about what we're seeing between all the pitchers are so much more in depth and I guess more mature. It's just the feel of this season is different than it has been in the past. But yeah, the pitching staff is great. Like we all are competing with one another. I don't know, like from Ricky to he hands the ball off. Hopefully I don't mess up rotation to Ben, then Krauth, and then Owen, TK, and me, and we all Owen and me and the TK, but we all like try to feed off each other, try to outperform each other, but support each other. Yeah, it's a good time. Yeah,
now Owen's like a hardcore competitor. I'm sure you think, but like he's like just wants to destroy guys. And he's kind of laid back. He's got the North Carolina in him, because that's where he's from. TK, seems kind of quiet too, at least in our interactions with him. And then Ricky's just Ricky. So,
Ricky is Ricky.
Yeah, it seems like a kind of a eclectic group.
Yeah, there's some different personalities in the room.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but funny thing about me and Ricky is last week he threw the ball. He had some stuff. His stuff was a little better. Like, he's awesome. And then I was like going through my locker and I was like trying to get dressed for my start. And I was like, dude, I only brought one sock. He's like, hey, you want some socks? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right, put some good luck in these for me. So I went out and like pitched well in them. And then he comes back the next week, wears the same socks, like pitches really well. And then that Saturday came around. I was like, hey man, let me get those socks. Went out and pitched well. So been pitching the same pair of socks. It's been pretty funny.
Are you guys washing the socks?
Yeah, please tell us.
Yeah, definitely washing the socks.
All right, we don't need any athlete's foot going around.
No.
Right? Well, that's good though. Hey, superstitions, that's a legit thing. And
it is.
Yeah.
No. Is it not to disparage Ricky, but he didn't have a great start last night. Are the socks? Are you going to still wear the socks?
Yeah, I'm gonna wear the socks. But
right.
that's something I was telling Ricky. Like, I was talking to somebody in the dugout, and it's like, when you come back from TJ, there's just going to be outings where, like, I remember last year, even that first instructs, or it's like you can't explain it, but it's the ball won't go where you want it to, and it just happens, and you almost have to like disconnect from it mentally and know that's not you. It's just part of the process and be okay with it.
Yeah. I mean,
Sure.
I mean, you speak from experience, unfortunately. Yeah. All right. So John's going to start asking you some questions, but before I let him take over, what does it mean for a kid from Forney to play in the Rangers organization and eventually for the Rangers?
It's awesome. It means the world to me. I can go back home. I love like Dallas summers, like, or at home, the vibe of the summer more than like anything. And I think it's gonna be so cool to one day be able to like be playing baseball in that atmosphere and have everything, people I love in the stands. And also just have like that extra pride of playing for almost like my hometown. Like, it'll feel almost like I'm playing for my high school, but on a bigger stage. Like, it's really cool, and I look forward to it.
All right. Yeah, John. You probably got some draft questions for him.
Right. You threw it high and tight. I get to loft up some softballs here and have some fun with you. So, we all know you're from Forney High School. Did you play any other sports in high school when you were at Forney?
I did in high school. I just played basketball in middle school, and then I played 1 year of football and was like, got a stinger down my left arm and was scared for that to happen to my right arm. So
I don't blame you.
Yeah, that right there would end my football career too, I think. Okay, now I noticed this. I looked up some stuff on you. You hit 355 your senior year. What position were you playing in the field, or were you a DH when you weren't pitching?
Me and my buddy Jonathan is at A&M right now. We alternate at first base just to save bullets, like not to be throwing as much during the week and everything. But previous to that, like, I would play shortstop, and then we had a younger shortstop my senior year that had it locked down and playing really well, so we didn't even worry about that. Just stuck to first base.
When I was, I went to high school. Mason, I went to high school in Arvada, Colorado. Arvada West. Our most famous alum was Roy Halladay. And,
awesome.
He was 2 years younger than me, and so after I graduated, I was umpiring a Little League baseball game on the field next to the high school field, and he had just been drafted. And, he wasn't pitching, but he was playing first base for the Connie Mack team. And every time it was his turn at first base and he threw it into the catcher when they were doing infield, you could tell who was throwing the ball because the ball just exploded off his glove. So he was saving bullets, but he was firing some pretty big shots.
That's awesome. I did the opposite. Our in and out, I didn't even go out because I'd pitch on Fridays, and on Tuesdays I'd throw my midweek bullpen like in the period, in the baseball period at school. So then I would like barely warm up and just flip the ball around Tuesday night.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay, so you played first. Did you hit any home runs?
I only had one home run each year of high school, and I switch hit. My best offensive year was my sophomore year. I hit like 398, and then I switched to just right-handed my senior year because I had a little more pop from that side, and I didn't want to have my right arm exposed all the time. And it was like kind of an adjustment period, seeing the right on right again. So I mean, I probably was only hitting like 280 through almost the end of district, and then through like the last 2 weeks of district and playoffs is when I found it again, and it was kind of went off from there. But luckily, our whole team did. I mean, we ended up. I think our whole team was hitting like 200 until the second round of playoffs, and we all hit like 400.
It's a good time to do it.
So you said you hit one a year? Is that what you said, or?
Yeah, I only hit one a year.
That's all right. Jack Leiter hit 1 home run in high school, so that's a good comparison to go off right there. How hard were you throwing in high school?
I think my senior year I'd be like 89, and if on a good day I'd be touching some 93s, and I did have a couple of 94s, 95s, but mostly like that 89, 92 range.
Okay, so you were bringing it. I mean, anybody in the upper 80s in high school, that's who they're looking at, because you still have to develop. You're a young kid. You're going to grow into your body. They see it there. Now, you were committed to Texas A&M, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other schools you considered?
I committed probably way too early in the process. I just didn't know anything about player development, like all the kind of advanced tools we've talked about. And if I'd known that, I might have explored more options. But I mean, I loved A&M, and so I committed there like my freshman year, which was like crazy early. But I didn't even really consider anywhere else.
Did you have anybody talking to you, and you just kind of shot them down?
Yeah, I had a couple of visits lined up where I was wanting to go to like Vanderbilt and then Texas and TCU and some different things. But then A&M got me out first, and I committed like that real early.
All right, so you were drafted in the 4th round, 2018. I always ask this question to everybody because I think it's fascinating. Where were you when you got drafted, and how did you find out you were drafted?
I walked in from lunch. I ate some lunch, came in, and the Rangers 4th round pick just like literally was on right as I walked in the door, and then they announced it, and then I was just with my family. So we didn't do anything crazy.
Did anybody call you and say, "Hey, we're about to take you"?
I had an idea going into that day because Mike Daly, who was with him at the time, was talking to my agent, and so I had a good idea of what was going to happen going in.
Okay.
Okay. Right, and were you pretty set that you wanted to go pro, or?
Yeah, I was.
You really knew you wanted to go? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my agent had to tell me like, hey, let's at least give him the idea you want to go to college.
Well, just listening to him, you got the stinger in the left arm, so he wanted to keep the right arm from that happening. He stopped switch hitting to protect the right arm. So It sounds like this was in your mind for a long time.
Oh, yeah. He had it set what he was going to do. So let me ask you this, Mason. When did you first think that you had a chance to get drafted? When did you start seeing scouts checking you out?
Actually seeing scouts checking me out, probably, I think whenever I started getting college attention, like in 7th, 8th grade. And then that's when I kind of knew, all right, if I keep going on this path, I could potentially go pro. And then scouts, like definitely my sophomore year when I went and performed well at area code games. But I mean, it had been in my mind, and that was definitely my goal since like I started playing baseball. But when it really became reality, it was like my sophomore year of high school.
So did you have any inclination or any other team that you really talked to you thought might be somebody that was going to look at you pretty good and you had a chance to go there?
Yeah, there were a few. I think the probably second team that I was most interested was the Twins.
Okay, so you talked to that scout a lot, and
yeah.
All right, so we go into the fun part. So what's your favorite food? What kind of food do you like to eat?
My parents make like they make really good pizza, like on these stone things on the grill. And there's like a buffalo chicken one my dad makes. Absolute favorite food in the world.
Okay, well, that answers that one, because I guess the home-cooked meal, your favorite home-cooked meal is cooked by your dad on the pizza oven?
Right. Yes, sir. Oops, sorry.
What about fast food? What's your favorite fast food?
Oof, I love you just a regular spicy chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A.
We got a lot of Chick-fil-A.
We do get a lot of
Chick-fil-A.
Justin
And
Foscue
I might say Whataburger if there were more around here, but I hardly ever eat Whataburger anymore because I'm never home.
So I'm assuming you like Whataburger more than In-N-Out. Is that the big competition?
Yeah, for sure.
That's a Texas boy right there.
There you go.
You've got to do that. Okay, what do you do outside of baseball? Do you golf, hunt, fish? What do you like to do?
I hunt and fish. I got into hunting this past off season, and thanks to like my strength coach, the hitting coach I was with us last year, and I bought a bow from him. So I went out and like worked really hard on that all off season. And then last day of rifle season, I'm ashamed to say I took a rifle out there and got my first deer. I was trying to be exclusively bow, but like, it's really hard. And then I fished my whole life with my dad. We have a bass boat. We go to the lake a lot, and then I just do all sorts of fishing wherever I'm at.
Now, where are the good fishing spots in
back
the
home?
Metroplex, or that you like to go to around?
Where's
around
your honey
the area?
hole? Is that what it's called? A honey hole? You got your little honey hole.
Me and my dad mostly go to Lake Ray Hubbard and Lake Tawaki, east of Dallas, and then there's all sorts of little spots I got around Forney.
Okay, all right. I don't want to get everybody out taking your fish. So not going to ask you where, but like Tawakoni and Ray Hubbard, a lot of people go there, so that's good.
Yep.
Do
For
you
sure.
play golf?
I've never golfed. It was between golf and hunting this past off season. I chose the bow hunting. So.
And you didn't get anything with the bow. Is that your first time to bow hunt?
Yeah, I was working hard on it, but yeah, I never had anything. So.
I've told
Be
people
back at
I hunt a little bit too, and I've told people over and over they try to get me into bow hunting. I'm like, the only way I'll ever kill a deer with a bow is if it walks up next to me and I beat the crap out of it with the bow. And I don't know how to shoot one.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law, who lives in Colorado, does black powder hunting.
Oh,
It's like he's loading a musket.
Oh yeah. They do that.
Like he's in the Revolutionary War, and he says he has to get very close.
Yeah.
He's never killed a deer with the.
Well, in Colorado, you guys have elk.
Well, right, but and we don't have deer stands. You got to track them and all that stuff. But
I'm into that too. Yeah,
I can't imagine. And he goes every year, and he thinks it's awesome. Like he's a a sniper in the Revolutionary Army or something. I don't know what's going on, but it just seems like that's way too much. And I mean bow hunting. I know a lot of people like to bow hunt, but that just seems like another extreme. Just if I were to hunt, I would just want a gun.
You just want a gun.
I just want to make it as easy as possible.
Sit in the stand with the gun, and if they don't come out, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Give me a margin
for sure. I like the challenge. I don't want to sit in the stand and then shoot a deer I've been feeding all year like it's cow. Like I can't stand that.
Yeah, exactly.
So on fishing, are you a catch and release guy, or do you like have a fish fry?
No, we eat a lot of fish. Like my house, we have a bunch of recipes like fish tacos, regular fish fries, blackened, like whatever. We do all sorts of fish.
Are the police coming to get you there, Mason?
Something's driving back.
Now you said you bought a boat from the guy that works you out. I'm guessing is the boat in Forney?
I bought did you say a boat or a bow?
Boat.
Oh no, we've had a boat. I bought a bow from my hitting coach last year.
Bow.
Okay, you bought a bow. Okay.
Bow, yeah. And then the boat we have is my dad got it in a will from a guy that he fished with as a kid. He passed away, so we got a boat from him.
Hey, I meant to bring this up earlier. You talking about your strength and conditioning coach. You work out in the off season at TMI Sports Medicine.
Yes, sir.
In Arlington with Keith Meister, the Rangers team physician. A lot of guys work out there. Just kind of, I know we're going back to baseball, but I think it's important because that's a big part of your story. Talk about what goes down there in the wintertime.
So I work with a guy named Sam Merstick, and he's like turned into one of my best friends. He's a young guy, like I think he's 26, but he's my coach basically in the off season, and he just like does a ton of research, is always learning, like adapting, and he's always bringing new things to the table. So he does a lot of like movement training, and then he'll write my strength programs in the off season. So I continue like in season doing a lot of his movement stuff, and then I work with the strength coaches here because the lifting is pretty similar. Mm-hmm. But I stay in close contact and work with him on throughout the year. But yeah, in the off season we work, do our throwing program, do everything. Like it's all tailored to what we need specifically. And I mean, it's awesome. And then there's the PTs on staff there that are awesome to have around to work with, just to keep things on track for the whole off season.
Yeah. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know how you want to look at it. I've had experience at doing rehab at TMI Sports. Mm-hmm. So I can speak, they're great people. And yeah, I can't, they're not a sponsor or anything, but I can't endorse them enough. I mean, if you're injured and in Arlington or in the Metroplex and need a place to go, they're your guys. They'll take care of you.
So did you blow out an
Absolutely.
elbow?
That was my back.
Your back?
I blew out my back.
You blew out your back? Yeah. Throwing a 98-mile-an-hour fastball? Or
something like that.
Or rolling over. That's what I do. Okay, last one. This is the last question. We ended. I don't know if you've talked to any of them that we asked this question to. It's what's something that nobody knows about you. Some of our favorite examples we like to do. Jack Leiter hates peanut butter. That's weird. Both you and I have had a problem with that since the beginning. Yeah. Let's see. Who else? Davis Wenzel.
Davis Wenzel lost a finger as a child, but got it sewed back on.
Right.
Brock Burke is a noted sleepwalker.
Yes.
And then Blaine Krim liked to walk around naked when he was a boy.
Yeah, liked to walk around naked when he was a kid. What is something that nobody knows about Mason Englert?
I don't know if there's something like nobody knows. My teammates definitely know, and my people I'm close with. But like I'm super big into meditation, and like taking extreme like ice baths and doing things like kind of for mental health and just for like being control of your mind.
Okay, the ice bath. Let's do the ice bath. Do you guys have a tub or you just go?
Yeah, I read a guy's book this offseason called the Wim Hof Method, and there's kind of a lot of like some hippie spiritual stuff, but there's also a lot of super like science. Like there's a lot of studies being done on some of his methods. It's like breathing methods, and then how to endure like the cold and the positive effects it has on the mind and body. And so I started doing that stuff, and I actually, that and some of the training methods are like some of the biggest things of like why I think my performance and control and calmness on the mound has been different than it's ever been in my life. Like I think getting into the cold and like almost the panic and the rise and like, you know, everything's screaming at you to get out, but you breathe through it. That's like the best way you can put yourself in a high stress environment without actually being in a high stress environment. So when you get into the game and stuff starts going wrong, you have an extreme sense of calm and ability to like connect to your breath and keep things under control mentally. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of an interesting thing about me. I feel like that not a whole lot of people know, but
so this isn't cryotherapy. This is like legit ice bath.
Yeah. It's like turn the jet on. So, cause I mean, a lot of people get an ice bath and they sit still. So there's like a layer of warm water around them. So it's kind of not even cold, but you turn the bath on, like so much ice in there that the thermometer won't go down anymore. And you hop in and just wear it for, you know, count breaths and try to get in there for however many minutes. And yeah.
What's your record?
Yeah. How long?
So if we're doing like in spring training, the tubs they have out there are kind of moderate cold, so like 50 degrees, and you can stay in there. I can stay in there for like 20 minutes, pretty easy. But then when you do like the extreme cold, where it's like that pushing 32, I think like longest I've gone is like 5 minutes, and I mean it's pretty brutal, but
it sounds pretty brutal.
Yeah.
You need to do what are they doing the winter, like the polar bear plunges? You need to do that.
He wouldn't even be bothered by that. He would just jump in and jump out.
Walk out. Yeah, geez.
No, it's amazing the things it does. And one cool thing about it is it like really speeds up your metabolism. So I'm eating more right now than I was.
Okay, well, never mind. Now you sold me. Look at this thing. This is how I got to get rid of this thing.
I'm going right now.
I'm going to get in the ice bath field.
I eat more than when I weighed 225, and I don't break 210 right now, so it's awesome. It's crushed food.
That's
perfect.
Great.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we're going to do it. Hey, listen, Mason, it's been great having you on. That, you know, we've had some that question always gets great answers. Meditation and ice baths. That's a new one. So we're going to have to use that one as an example.
Absolutely. Write it down.
Mason, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate you taking time. I know you guys are on the road. Good luck for your next start. And, buddy, we really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, Mason.
That's Mason Englert, the right-hand pitcher for the Texas Rangers. Actually, the Hickory Crawdads.
Hickory Crawdads in the Rangers organization.
That's right. We'll see you, Mason. All right, that was Mason Englert. Thanks for coming down. And speaking of Mason Englert, let's go down in the bus leagues. Let's talk about the minor leagues real quick.
Yeah.
Down East Wood Ducks, 10-12 record right now. They're 5-5 in their last 10. A couple of guys I've noticed there that are doing well. Looking up Alejandro Ozuna, who I don't know well, but this kid's hitting 350, 996. And then Larson Kindrich. Good Lord.
Yeah. Larson, he was the 8th round pick last year's draft. Biola University, which is a small school in Southern California, Orange County area, and left-hander, big left-hander. I think we actually have a video of him on our YouTube page. Or there's a great at the Dallas Baptist. I think that crazy double play was made behind him.
Okay,
but
all right.
Anyway, big guy, good stuff. 8th round pick, so he's pretty advanced. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't make a jump and finish at Hickory. Another guy down there, Yossi Galan, who I've written about at rangerstoday.com, went 5 for 5, was a double shy of the cycle. He's got to hit the breaking ball, but if he can do that, this guy's got a chance. He's not I don't think he's probably a top 30 prospect right now, maybe not top 40, but just because it's so raw.
Right.
But if it comes together, there are a lot of guys who think he can be a stud.
We've stood next to him too. This kid is built. I mean, this guy is in shape.
Yeah, he's like a prize fighter.
That's
how he's built. I mean, he's not like Mark McGuire. He's just lean, and if I got to fight somebody, I want Yossi on my side.
Before we go to Hickory, real quick, Larson Kindredge. He's 1-0, 1.13 ERA. He's pitched 16 innings, 26 strikeouts.
Yeah.
This guy's missing bats. Hickory Crawdads, they're 11-11, 6-4 over the last 10. Again, Evan Carter is leading the way there with 324 average. He's only hit one home run, but he's got a 956 OPS.
Yeah, and he's still young. The power's going to come, though.
Yeah, he is young. He's 19 years old doing that. Cease, 5 home runs, leading the team.
Yeah.
Not hitting well. He's only hitting like 215, something like that. But I just happy to see Chris Cease playing a lot.
Yeah, I think everybody would agree with that. And he's got a chance to be this year's Cole Reagans.
Sure.
Cole Reagans, after the 2 Tommy John surgeries, came back last year, had a real nice season, is in Double-A. Chris is just a immensely talented guy, and he's been through so many rehabs for various injuries. This one, the knee, the running doesn't seem to be bothering him, and his nickname is the Body because he's just built, and he's a little older, and again going through rehab. This is what those guys do.
Yep.
And he's still got a chance.
Yeah, in spring training, you could tell the guy was in shape and had been working out.
Yeah.
And, of course, on the pitching front, Owen White basically leading the way there, 3.44 ERA. He struck out 24 in 18 innings. Mason, who we talked to, doing well.
Yeah.
Mason's doing well down there also. Frisco. Now, Frisco's doing really well. Frisco, Double-A. For those that don't know, it goes low A, high A. We're now at Double-A. This is the upper part of the minor leagues. 14-8. They're 4-6 over the last 10 games. You can't say enough about Ornelas and Harris, who are leading the way there. Both of them. Yeah. Harris has taken off since he started.
Yeah, and there's Dustin over our shoulder. We're not looking at a sweet swing, but this is a big deal right now. He's trying to learn a new position. He's trying to learn left field after spending most of his time on the dirt last year at first base and even a little third. That's not easy. All right. I mean, in left field, Cole Calhoun said it, and is the day he signed. Left field is the hardest of the outfield positions for a lot of these guys, and so he's on the learning on the job. But so maybe that took a little bit of the bat away early, but it's coming on, and you're seeing why he was the Rangers minor league player of the year last year. It's a quick, simple swing that gets a lot of results.
Yep, and Jonathan Ornelas continues, 3rd round pick. I think the same year as Cole Winn. I think he was the third.
18.
No, he's 18. He was third. That was Cole. He was a 3rd round pick, hitting 364. He has continued to hit well there.
Yeah.
You got Jack Leiter on the mound. Cole Reagans, obviously. Jack Leiter 2.84. I think he had a little bit of a rocky start last time.
Yeah. He's had some. I think he's probably had some command issues. He's not very efficient right now. A lot of the runs he's given up are unearned, but. I think that he would tell you that you got to pick up your guys. You got to figure out a way to pick them up. So, but again, he's had 4 professional starts.
Sure.
And the stuff's there, and he's got to learn how to pitch. Not learn how to pitch, but he's got to pitch again and get through these situations. And
this is the learning curve.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's worried about Jack.
Well, and it's pretty obvious his first pro year that they were fine sending him to Double-A. He's handled it well. He struck out 19 and 12 and 2/3 innings. He's got a 2.84 ERA, like we said.
He's doing fine.
Yeah, he's doing fine. He's not overwhelmed or he's not overmatched at all. Cole Reagans is 1-1. He's got a 3 ERA. He's got 18 innings pitched, 22 Ks. And, of course, our guy that was on here a couple weeks ago, Chase Lee, is just still 3 saves, 0.0 ERA. The Viper, man, he is. That guy, he's going to be in Round Rock, I think, pretty soon. Or has he gone back-to-back yet? Has he gone a couple days? I've got to go back and check that.
I don't think they did over the first month. I think that was kind of by design.
This guy, he is tough on right-handers too.
Sure.
Good Lord, he's not going to close at the big league level. He has a chance to sneak in towards the end of the year, but if he keeps up what he's doing.
Yeah.
Round Rock is 16-9, 5-5 the last 10 games. Tavares continues to lead the way there. I mean, there's not much. Bubba Thompson.
Sure.
Tavares is hitting 374. He's got 4 home runs, 1.034 OPS. Thompson, 349, 878 OPS, 3 home runs. Coming back from the eye injury, just continuing to do well. It's those 2 guys right there are the reason Willie Calhoun, in my opinion, may have played his last game in the big leagues. Well, I just think there's younger guys they want to look at.
Sure. Now, it's not all rainbows and lollipops. Like Bubba
has not walked.
Right. No walks.
Yep.
So they want to see a little more. But I mean, he's obviously having good at bats because he's hitting so well, but he needs to have better at bats, more consistently. Leote too, and you know, I asked about Leote's defense. Apparently, it's not as good as they expect, but it's still very, very good. But there's some things he needs to clean up. So I still expect him to be up within the next couple weeks. I really do, especially if this keeps up. I just can't see how they can keep him down.
No, I don't either. I think there's and you know, Cole Calhoun at the big league level hasn't performed well. He's a veteran leader in that clubhouse. I know that's what they had him there for, but I think eventually there's got to be some at-bats to go to some younger guys.
Sure.
Whether he's the guy or not, I think they'll try to work through him as much as they can, but yeah, I can't see why Taveras wouldn't get up here and get regular ABs. He'll take probably the one that's the who loses at bats off of that's probably going to be someone like Eli White, who I like a lot. But, I mean, they've got higher hopes for Taveras than they do Eli White. That's just simple.
Sure.
He's only 23.
Yeah, yeah. And it's you know, it's bound to happen.
Yep.
It's there's just too much talent there for it not to happen. And and obviously there have been athletic, talented guys that haven't made it before, but and you got to see it. You can't just you got to see it. And so I could see theoretically, you know, making him stay down there and get 250 at bats, let's say, but you don't need to. I mean, if it looks good now and you think he's going to survive, then get him up.
Well, and you come up here now with the lineup they have in the big leagues. He will see better pitches. That's the guy in the lineup they're going to be saying throw strikes to and make him challenge this guy. Throw him strikes and see what he can do, because you've got to avoid some of the better bats in the lineup. That's why I think Taveras will do better once here. Now, those kind of numbers, you'd love to see that. It's doubtful he'll come up to the major leagues and have a 1.034 OPS doing there. Now, this was interesting to me. Cole Winn, who's 2-0, he's got a 3.38 ERA. He had the little
Cole Winn
right here. Had the foot injury. They hit off thank goodness, the heel. I heard that was a rocket back at him. Didn't hit him in the ankle. That would have been worse. A name I was surprised to know has the exact same ERA. Any guesses? A name that you wouldn't think of?
No.
Kohei Arihara.
I was going to say that, actually.
He's a 3.38 ERA. So he started off bad in AAA, but apparently is throwing something together. Whether he's off the 40-man.
Right.
So that you got to have to make a position, some sort of move there if you were going to bring him up. That's it. I just found that interesting.
Well, and one thing about him is that, like if they needed a starter tomorrow, let's say, it wouldn't be Cole Winn.
No.
Cole hasn't been built up yet. It might be Arihara, honestly.
They could DFA him and put him back down.
They're paying him enough money, but, he's a veteran guy. He's pitched in the majors. Not well necessarily, or as well at times, but he could get just some innings. I don't know that anybody else is built up to do that. Maybe Alexi, but I wouldn't be surprised if something happens and they need a starter. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Arihara.
Could be. Well, guys, that's it. That's down in the bus leagues right there, going to the minor leagues. Once again, Rangers Today. Go on Rangers Today. Sign up. What's the special they're running just for the season?
Yeah, well, $5.99 a month or $60 a year, and then we have a 6-month subscription for $35. Take advantage of it. If you don't care what happens in the off season and you just want to follow from opening day to the last game of the season, it's perfect for you. I would strongly encourage you to get the full year, though, because baseball never stops, man. Baseball never stops.
And we, even through the lockout, Jeff and I did something every week. He wrote every day. We did the podcast every week. We'll do the podcast every week in the off season. Of course, I say every week. There's not going to be 52 weeks. We'll have one week.
There'll be vacations.
There'll be some traveling and stuff that we'll have to do. But I'm telling you, there won't be 2 weeks in a row where we won't have a podcast. We're going to have stuff where we don't get to. But even when you're traveling, we're going to get back together. We might do this on a different day when you're traveling to come back and do it. Guys, this is coming out every week. Rangers Today comes out every day. There's something that hits every morning with my cup of coffee. Get on there and do it. Anything else before we get out of here?
I don't think so. I think we're finding our groove too, John.
Absolutely. That's 34 in the can. Guys, till next time, we'll see you at the yard.